All right, guys, I think we're live. We have some sketchy internet situation going on here. Sketch. It is what it is. I do not have ideal video making conditions, but that's fine. Totally fine. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at a couple things. So who's being hurt the most by this recession? This is what's so interesting about the financial markets, the way all this stuff works. It's always different. You can point to the past and say, oh, well, it's going to be like that, but it never really is. I mean, find me two recessions that were even similar. They're all different. And in this one, the people who are getting hurt the most are actually the people in the real estate industry. I mean, you're seeing volume, so number of units down almost 50% in a lot of places across the country. Refinances down 80-90%. So for loan guys like me, I have the smallest loan pipeline I think had in 20 years. It's really, really interesting to see. There's just less pie out there. The pie has shrunk quite a bit. A lot less home purchases going on. So a lot less purchase loans out there. Refinances slim, very slim. Everybody's got two something. Everybody's got high twos, low twos. A lot of people have 2.25, low threes. With conventional rates in the, let's call it high fours, low fives, and VA rates in the mid fours, FHA rates in the mid fours, the refinance demand is mostly cash out. So the people who are really suffering are people in the industry, which creates a very interesting perspective. Because if the salespeople for the industry are hurting, and they're typically the ones who project the most positivity, it just puts a very interesting dynamic out there. Let's take a quick look here at interest rates. There's no question that is for sure who is feeling it. Where did my chart go? I have to click on buttons now. This could be my fault for zooming in too much. But I do have bad news on the interest rate front. So the last couple of days haven't been good. Haven't been great. Let's put it that way. Today was sort of flat, up 2 basis points. The damage was really done yesterday. Man, what's going on? I don't know why this is different than it has ever been, guys. But long story short, I guess we'll just look at it in a weird way. Well, this is like an intraday chart. Long story short, we hopped over the support. So we had a really nice trend line. Then we go, I do not know why this is what's going on right now. We had a very nice rising trend line for mortgage-backed securities that got breached yesterday. And I told you it was dangerous. We were hugging low. We really needed it to break out. We really needed something to happen there. And it just didn't. There's no two ways about it. I don't understand what's going on right now with mortgage MBS highway, but I guess we'll skip that for now. I'm struggling. We're on the struggle bus right now. Struggling with internet service, struggling with interest rates. We're just struggling. The home sales have fallen. It's at 6% in July as housing slides into recession. Look, the number of transactions being down, remember that actually makes it a lot more, that's like kindling for fire. When there's a lot more transactions going on, the market is liquid, it's harder for it to move as much, right? Because there's so many people there participating in it. When there's less people involved in the market, it's easier for it to be more volatile. Okay. So for example, if you're trading a stock that exchanges 10,000 shares a day, it's nothing. That stock can get whipsawed around very easily versus, one that trades 100 million shares a day, because there's more liquidity. There's more people in there, so that you can't just have one or two crazy people cause something bad to happen. Well, with the number of transactions being down in real estate, what that does is it makes the market more volatile. So you're going to see, like I have one that just went in contract today that went in above ask. Above ask. Ask was $899. This is in Riverside County. And we went in contract for $905. Multiple offers. Okay. So you have situations like that where there's a really desirable property, really nice place. A lot of people want it. I guess at least multiple, at least two people wanted it. And you have that kind of scenario going on where you also have other ones, other situations with properties where people are flabbergasted by the fact that they don't have it sold. I know one in particular, buddy of mine, who is a realtor, and his home's been on the market and it is dialed gorgeous, just gorgeous. Not a bad price point either, 750 range. And I believe it's in South Riverside County. So not a super crazy price point or anything like that. Dialed in, I mean, upgraded, just completely dialed. And it's just crickets for him. So there's stuff that like that that's going on. And that's when you have less participants on the buy side in a market, it can create this sort of an oddness that it doesn't make sense. Some things won't make sense. Certain properties won't get offers, other ones will be multiple, even though it's a high tax rate or whatever. So you just kind of don't have a confluence there yet, but we're working towards that. So when you see things like, hey, home sales have fallen, the number of transactions is down, the price of homes is down. This is all true, all expected, all had to happen at the raising of rates, particularly mortgage rates, not the federal funds rate, but raising of mortgage rates, is just too much too quickly. It had to have some sort of impact, right? And it has. Now, it happened to coincide directly with when we pretty much knew that a recession was coming. Q1 was negative, Q2 was negative, but Q2 felt worse than Q1. So just kind of everyone knew it was happening. So we also have the sentiment overall has been a little bit more negative recently. Usually in those situations, those are where the opportunities are. When sentiment gets overly negative, the markets have sort of overreacted. So many buyers are saying, we're going to wait. You're just putting more qualified gunpowder on the sidelines so that when you get to a point, when does that point happen? When does the bottom of the market take place? When do we go, you know what? This is good enough. Up we go. When does that come in? That takes, it's a reverse capitulation. It takes people going, I'm sick of paying $5,000 a month in rent. I'm sick of paying $4,800 a month in rent. I'm sick of it. Can't do it anymore. Is that a year from now? Is that 6 months from now? I'm not sure, but you're going to see it's going to happen. Jobless claims, nothing really crazy going on in the labor market. I know a lot of the crash theories either begin and end with, you're going to see lots of layoffs. You're going to see massive layoffs. People are going to be homeless. What's happening right now, actually, that's causing people to be homeless, if you've seen some of those stories, is just evictions. People in different states where landlords have more control, trying to raise rent, people not being able to afford that. That's actually what's happening. So when you look at that, and you may see the headline and go, oh man, people are being evicted because they can't pay their rent. Not from what I've seen. From what I've seen, stories along those lines are actually very much along the lines of, hey, there's landlords who are trying to get market rent, and people who don't want to pay it, and then they're trying to squat, and so they're using the laws to remove them from the properties. If that makes them homeless, that sucks. But it's not the way it's sort of being portrayed. I should have saved that story from a couple of days ago to bring it up and include it in here. But the bottom line is, you are seeing, but when you see something like that, I just want you to know that's actually something that shows you the strength and the value of housing. Because what we're actually trying to value when we value the housing market, and I'm always just looking at the San Diego market, but when we're looking at the housing market, is what is the value of housing? What is the value in housing? How valuable is it to be housed? That's what we're looking at. So if we see things like rents increasing on a record pace, people being evicted because they won't pay their new rent or whatever, that's showing you that the value of housing is increasing. So until you see, rentals, advertising, this is kind of like when we first started seeing the housing market on the purchase side slow down a little bit, you started seeing people promoting listings more, or you see them promoting a listing more than once, whether it's on social media or whatever. And that made you go, oh, wow, okay, so they didn't just sell it right away, which is what had been going on for years. It didn't just sell right away. So now I need to go out and I need to promote it again. I'm going to go over here and make a video about it. And then I'm going to say something on there. I'm going to say, hey, we're having another open house. We haven't seen any of that on the rental side yet. We haven't seen, people unable to rent stuff. In fact, even the buddies that I know who are big into Airbnb say their Airbnbs are still killing it. And we haven't really seen on the economy side. I mean, just look at this. Home Depot and Lowe's. And those are really, really good, in my opinion, litmus tests. Home Depot and Lowe's. Think about this. They're two very different stores, aren't they? Isn't that wild how they created their own identities? But you put them in the same bucket for what they do. I was at Lowe's yesterday. Got exactly what I needed too. It's terrific. Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, right? And those are the ones, what you get. You either shop at Walmart or Target, one of the two. and you probably don't want to go to the other. I shop at both of them, but I know we're weird. Home Depot and Lowe's, people have a favorite. They do. The strong demand here is what I'm looking at. Strong demand, but softening could be ahead. So that's as negative as they're able to get with this. And to me, right away, I see the headline because I know what they're trying to do here. As soon as I see that, I go, wow, that's as bad as they could make it. Interesting. Home builder sentiment drops. We talk about that. Who cares? I'm sorry, home builders. Who cares? Home Depot and y'all are going to get what you deserve. Home Depot and Lowe's, nonetheless, reported relatively strong numbers from professionals in the second quarter. Yeah, because home builders, remember, they're building a very expensive product and trying to take it to a market where there's a cheaper option for people. The 100% of the time, if you're a home builder, that's what you're doing. And part of your business model is scarcity of inventory and quality of product. But if price becomes the main issue, there's other options for people. And they'll just simply take that. They'll go to Walmart instead of going to Target. So when you look at construction, I look at actual construction jobs. So I talk to GCs. I have multiple people in our circle that are in the construction business. Everybody says they're crushed. So that part hasn't happened yet. That part where people stop, redoing kitchens and stop putting additions on their homes, that part hasn't stopped yet. May not. Doesn't have to. That's kind of my point. It's like when we look at what are we getting from, different companies that are publicly traded, when they have to divulge to us information about their businesses, what are they saying about it? And if you look at something like Home Depot, Lowe's, those are really good indicator stocks to see how are things going with the economy. According to one analyst, these housing effects could hit home improvement late this year or early next year. According to one analyst, they found one guy who would do their negative bidding. And it's possible. Maybe that's something that happens down the road. Maybe because the builders, maybe they pull back a little bit. They don't need to send their guys in here, the subs who do all the different things. They're not going to be circling through here as much. It's possible. It could be something that lags. But my point is, how could you be negative yet? How could you be negative now? And is this not already priced in? I don't know. We'll see. But I just think it's interesting. Let's get back over here and see if this. So I'm having trouble with internet right now. I don't know if this is actually going to be possible, but I would like to show you what's going on with this chart. Thank you. All right. How about that? So it's a little bit difficult to see. I'm going to zoom in here, Tad, because we're right up on these numbers, but you can see the gap down here. So that's the pain that we're feeling. It's about 0.25% or so, 1/8 to 0.25%, depending upon where you fit in the credit tiers. Remember, lower credit score borrowers always feel the rate shifts more than if you have higher credit scores. A lot of people with higher credit scores, like higher credit score conventional loan with a big down payment or something, that right there is probably not changed much because there's so much demand for that paper in secondary. But unfortunately, the trend line that we had going, it was going through here. And so we've lost that. Now, if you were going to bet against this, whatever this is in front of us with these candlesticks, now looks like the best time that we've seen in a while to do it. And so that has me a little bit concerned about the projection and just the trajectory of interest rates. Now we can pretty much say, okay, hey, we broke the downtrend or the uptrend. So now what are we in? Well, now we're in a downtrend if that's the case. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Something to we're going to pay very close attention to what happens here, especially in the next couple of days, because in order for this to become the new trend, we would have to get some rejection. And of course, lower prices in bonds would mean higher mortgage rates. And that is not what we are looking for at the moment. So if mortgage rates do get worse here, that will exacerbate the situation. There's no question about it. That will make things worse. And that's what I did not think this would happen. I still don't expect it to happen, but it's looking more possible now for rates to be going up in the near future. And so we want to keep a very close eye on that. Okay, let me see what I got here. Howdy, people. Slim dog, scary times for renters. Yeah, I mean, if you're a renter, it's tough. It's tough because if you're a renter and you're, let's say, in a month to month, and you just kind of don't talk to your landlord, you've just been paying them, and you're not really thinking about it, and then you're like, man, we've been month to month for 2 years here, and then all of a sudden, you start getting contacts from, hey, can we talk? You know what that is, right? Hey, you got to go, or you got to pay up. And those conversations could be coming for a lot of people. If you are going to rent, my goodness, please always be in contract. Don't be flapping in the wind where a landlord could at any moment be like, hey, you got 60 days to go. You get yourself in a contract. I know it's hard to bring that up because usually it means a price increase or something like that, but pre-negotiate that. If you're going to rent a place, say, hey, I would like to negotiate the next 3 years worth of rent. I mean, if you're going to be renting a place for a while, let's say you're coming here you're in the military, and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to buy here. I already used my VA loan over here, and I'm going to keep that place. I'm going to be going back there after this tour, whatever. And you're going to rent a place for a couple of years, pre-negotiate like each year. Hey, upon renewal, second year rental rate will be this. Upon renewal, third year rental rate will be this. Just put it in the lease agreement. You can do that in anything. It's easy. But you want to do that because you don't want to be flapping in the wind. We've seen so many people get sort of punted into this position where they have to rent somewhere else, have to find a new rental and commit to, a long-term thing, or find a place to buy in a very short period of time. And so it puts you in a disadvantage because now you're more likely going to go end up renting. Unless you're really committed to purchasing, you're going to more likely end up renting again and not getting on the right side of the river. So it's just something that I would highly recommend. But good point. We live, Michael. Yes, sir. We live. All right. And now we about to be gone. Listen, y'all, if you need help with a home loan, here's what I can tell you right now. I need help helping people with home loans. It's looking slim, family. It's looking slim. We have very few loans to work on here. We are ready to work for you. We want to make sure you get a great deal. We want to make sure you don't pay any BS fees. We want to make sure that if you have a quote already or just got your offer accepted or whatever, that you get a second opinion before it's too late and you get committed to a loan that has a bunch of costs. I did one yesterday. Guy was charging $2,400 in just sort of junk fees and 1 point origination fees. And his rates were higher than mine still with no fees. So, and that was just yesterday. And that was actually one of the closest ones I've seen in a while. Usually they're much further away than that. It was still a slam dunk. Look, we can save you some money. Why not let us do that? And at the end of the day, you take that money and you do with it what you want. You want to buy more property? You want to go to Vegas? Whatever, it's your call. I just want to make sure you're taken care of. Give me a call. Should be a text. Send me an email. Get you a loan quote very quickly. And take care of you every step of the way. Have a great day, guys. Thank you, Lynn. Love you, Lynn. You're awesome.